morning and welcome to another episode of Smashy Business. I'm Lubna Hamdan.
And I'm Walid Shahabi. Good morning, Lubna.
Great to have you back with us in the studio, Walid. I truly look forward to when you're with us in the studio.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Very interesting conversation. I'm going to go through the headlines real quick. Ryan Reynolds is Yas Island's new Chief Island Officer. Why does that matter and what does it mean? We'll talk about that. Dubai-based football agent has been found not guilty in a high-profile intimidation case. Love me a good, juicy, scandalous trial. And Ras Al Khaimah is welcoming a beachfront project with Aston Martin. It's following suit with all the other brands that are going for those branded real estate projects. Another real estate, which is why it's great to have you here. Another real estate story, Aldar's Q1 profits have soared 88%, and it's also planning a $6.8 billion beachfront project. First of all, Walid, how is your morning? You are coming into the studio. None of us know how to use that coffee machine besides Millie, who's brilliant, but you taught me how to.
Yes,
yeah, you cracked
actually,
the codes.
it's not that difficult. It looks a little bit intimidating, but yeah, coffee is something I love, very passionate about. Would not have a good day without one. So no, and you have some good coffee beans. So thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
We were also talking about the addiction that nobody talks about here in Dubai, which is the nasal spray addiction.
Yes, yeah, I was an addict also myself.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then discovered
as a current addict myself. Tell me about
how you broke the habit.
How did you?
Saline water. I know you say it doesn't work. Switch to that. It's natural. It doesn't work like magic, like the nasal spray does. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Right? The problem with the nasal spray is if you run out, you are completely blocked, and your system sort of starts.
That feeling when you run out and you just start, shaking.
Yeah. And especially in these dusty days, etc. I block out completely on days like these.
What was your
water.
kryptonite? Which brand was it? Which nasal spray brand?
I forget.
Was it Otrivine?
Otrivine, absolutely. It's everybody's.
God,
yeah,
it's too good.
It's too addictive. You get a cold, you use it, and then you start, using it for everything and anything.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm feeling the urge to
right now. Yeah.
to spray right now. Anyways, oh gosh. Are you a fan of Ryan Reynolds?
Not only am I a fan, I think he must be the single best marketing asset in the world today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
I think, I read an article not too long ago, which I thought that was very interesting, the announcement recently, that his presence in an ad in any campaign basically creates the company, creates the brand. He's just absolutely brilliant. The nature of his comedy, obviously, to a lot of people, he's not that bad looking either. But his
I will attest to that.
But his experience overall in a number of unorthodox projects like the Wrexham project. I don't know if you know about that one, the football club that he co-owns in England. And I don't know what division it was in.
He bought another one as well the other day, I think.
Was it a football club, or I think it's another sports club or something like that? I mean, the first experiment worked wonderfully. Back-to-back promotions. The club's revenues must have 10x'd over the.
But what's most
period.
Interesting is his film production and digital marketing company, Maximum Effort, which he named after the Deadpool thing.
I did not know that. That's,
but it's absolutely brilliant, and he did so many campaigns for. I remember for Father's Day, he had a really funny ad. He's had ads with Hugh Jackman as well. This fake rivalry that they have kind of on screen in those ads. So he has a gin company, and then Hugh Jackman has a coffee company, and they kind of did oh my gosh, it was so funny, and I wish we could have played it on screen, but we'll do another story on that. It's just he's got a knack for advertising, basically. And for Jason Momoa, Kevin Hart were Yas Island's previous chief island officers, and Yas Island has spent so much on huge productions with what was that? staying in Yas, kind of about the staying alive, inspiration from
Yes,
that
you did
song.
not butcher that.
I did not butcher that. Ouch! Ouch! It was a bit harsh, but I guess no.
I'm kidding. No, very successful
singing
campaigns, very
career
creative
for
campaigns,
me.
but I think
Yeah.
this trumps them. Look forward to something super
Definitely.
interesting, something that will probably be viral.
Definitely.
Coming out from
And the
there.
thing is, the ad that he's done is already 10 times better than anything that Kevin Hart or Jason Momoa have done, even though Kevin Hart is a comedian. But it's, I don't know if you've seen the ad, he's just natural at that. So
It's a talent I think he's leveraging to the maximum. Very smart business acumen,
Really good.
while still staying, very relatable.
Exactly.
As a character, which
and
I
his
think is a
wife
magic
also.
formula. Absolutely.
Definitely. Blake Lively.
Yes.
Love that. Also not bad looking. Not
It's turning into a gossip show.
very
isn't
easy.
it?
Oh my days, very easy on the eyes. But they always have this humor between them as well, which is quite nice to see on social media. Anyways, the group CEO of Miral Group, Mohammed Al-Zabi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, posted a picture with Ryan Reynolds on his Instagram account, celebrating basically the appointment of Ryan Reynolds, who follows in the footsteps, as we mentioned, of former Yas Island Chief Island officers Kevin Hart and Jason Momoa. But the picture shows the group CEO wearing sneakers with his kandura. And that's what people picked up on.
Really?
So I found that kind of
any
interesting.
traction is good traction, I
Any
guess.
traction is. He also praised Miral chairman Mohammed Khalifa Al Mubarak, who is credited obviously with growing Abu Dhabi's tourism as chairman of the Department of Culture and Tourism. And a member of the Executive Council of Abu Dhabi. He is also the brother of MD and Group CEO of Mubadala Investment Group, Khaldoon Khalifa Al Mubarak, who is also, I will be a tiny bit inappropriate, also easy on the eyes. I do remember, however, seeing Mohammed Khalifa Al Mubarak right before the Louvre opened in Abu Dhabi, and he was giving a speech, so well spoken. I mean, that family is just
Absolutely.
They
And
have a presence.
if you want to see more, watch the Man City show on Netflix, the one that covers last year's phenomenal performance by that football club. Of course, he features heavily in the program. That, if you don't recall, that was the year where they won the treble, the single most successful year in the history of Man City, and obviously a validation for the investment that Abu Dhabi and Mubadala made in the club.
What is your football team?
Barcelona. Barcelona growing up, Barcelona forever. My son is a fanatic. I've promised him a classical match before the end of this year. So yeah, we're a Barcelona family.
How many sons do you
Two
have?
boys.
Two boys.
Yeah.
One of them seems to be the favorite. He's not listening to the show, so you can say it.
I can't say which one,
keeps coming
but
up in conversation.
No. I mean, listen, they come in all shapes and sizes, of course, and with their own characters. I love them both to death. You relate with one on certain topics more than you relate with the other on others.
Yeah.
The football conversation is with my youngest always. He's an encyclopedia of football knowledge. It's very strange.
Lovely.
It's slightly worrying.
Slightly worrying. You know what? As long as it's football, you've got nothing to worry about. Hisham, our producer, has a question for you. He's our football fanatic, actually.
Oh, great.
The question is, Hisham, how do you feel about Xavi renewing his contracts?
Xavi was one of my favorite players ever, actually. And it's good to see that he's still, he's building up his CV. I think he's going to be one of the best coaches out there, on the footsteps of Guardiola. I would expect. So I don't know the details of the renewal. But by all means.
Yeah. Lovely. So gossip, business, and football. I think we've got it down to a T.
We've pivoted, yes.
Pivoted. Speaking of football, a Dubai-based football agent who became the youngest. He's known for having become the youngest at age just 21. He was only 21 when he became the youngest FIFA licensed player's agent. His name is Saif Al-Rubai. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. I think originally Iraqi, if I'm not mistaken. He has been found not guilty in a high-profile trial involving the Russians. So he's 45 now. He has been acquitted of sending an intimidating email to the former Chelsea director, Marina Granovskaya. Okay, Granovskaya. It takes me a minute to switch languages in my head.
Your Russian didn't kick in.
No, not even a little bit. Anyway, she's basically known as Abramovich's right-hand woman. Basically, pretty well known. Anyways, the anything to do with technically there is no evidence that he had anything to do with it, but she did say herself also that obviously disappointed with the verdict. She said it shows the ugly side of football, but he posted this really funny kind of AI video. You saw it, yeah? People just said, what a guy, why should he keep it on the low, let him enjoy, justice has been served, justice prevails, my kind of entrance. So it was interesting.
He wasn't very humble with the win, let's put it that way.
No, not at all. I kind of love that attitude.
Yeah. No, it was a funny video.
Having a personality like that.
Yeah, certainly.
His family members sobbed in the background as the verdict was read out. And he called the last 2 years of the trial, it went on for 2 years, but he called the last 2 years hell. Because he was facing 2 years in prison. He said threatening someone, and I remember seeing this in the news, he said threatening someone linked to Abramovich, who had been sanctioned obviously by the UK government due to alleged ties with the Russian government. He's an ex-politician. He said it would have been suicide, he said. And the email he sent in May 2022 was regarding obviously the payment for his role in the transfer of Kurt Zouma from Chelsea to West Ham in 2021. He said, in summary, you owe me and my partners 300,000 pounds, which needs to get paid ASAP. If Chelsea don't pay it, then that debt will be on you to pay. I am done trying to be nice to you. I'm sure you've heard the story about your other friend, Kia, when he owed me money for a year and how he ended up paying it. Wouldn't want you to be in the same situation just because you have a personal issue with me, he said.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit of a threatening...
I mean, I would say so. Yeah. I would definitely say so. And it's funny because the story with Kia was that he was, and Saif has denied having anything to do with it, but he was apparently at a restaurant and an alleged associate of Saif's, he has denied it again, came up to him, to Kia, and kind of voluntarily pressured him to take off his watch and give it to him as part of debts
settlement
due.
Well, collections is not a pleasant sort of function.
No.
And, you know, there's a lot of pressure tactics used in collections that may not be.
I think it's brilliant. Yeah. I think the watch thing is absolutely at a restaurant.
A bit mafia movie, but yeah.
Very much so. I mean, there's a reason we like, we like those mafia movies.
Sopranos style, yeah.
Saif sent me a text message and said, that's inaccurate. I had nothing to do with that incident. I said, too bad. Would have been more interesting if you had.
If you had, exactly. So.
Right, moving on to real estate, which is your area of expertise. Ras Al Khaimah has been seeing a lot of momentum, I would say. There's a $250 million beachfront project coming to Ras Al Khaimah with Aston Martin. They've joined the club of so many brands that have ventured into real estate.
Branded residences has been definitely a trend adopted by a lot of developers.
Is it a hit or a miss?
It's been a hit in terms of performance, and I think associating certain brands and what these brands represent in terms of quality, luxury, etc., with a property product has been extremely successful. But I think it also dovetails with the overall sort of destination development that Ras Al Khaimah has been seeing.
Absolutely.
It's been a little bit overshadowed by the strong growth in the Dubai real estate market, of course, which is, I think, a broader trend. But in the case of Ras Al Khaimah in particular, we've seen a lot of interest go there, and a lot of people that started off, investing in Dubai have seen the potential for, a destination location like Ras Al Khaimah, especially with the licensing of the gaming licensing that's associated with, plus obviously long stretch of lovely beach ripe for development.
Yeah.
So
I was born in Ras Al Khaimah, actually.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was born there, and oh my gosh, there was nothing at all back then, and so it's great to see. I'm excited for the casinos. I'm excited just to see more development. Sad to see the homes of people who had homes on the beachfront and now kind of lost the sea views, the access to the sea because of all the hotels. But still, so much land there too.
Some would say inevitable that development catches up, with these areas. It's prime land at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it has a broader economic benefit for Ras Al Khaimah as a whole, and the traffic and tourism and spending and businesses and so on. And in this day and age, prime land means beachfront land.
Absolutely, right? Absolutely. Speaking of real estate as well, Aldar Properties is planning on building also a beachfront community, $6.8 billion. Wow, I don't know what happened there. Sorry, guys. $6.8 billion. It's a luxury beachfront community on Al Fahd Island over the next 5 to 7 years, covering 3.4 million square meters. The project will feature schools, hotels, retail, and entertainment venues. Thoughts?
Major new master development by Dar. I mean, Dar today dominates the freehold development space in Abu Dhabi, and pretty much the majority of the freehold master communities in Abu Dhabi were designed, built, developed, delivered by a Dar. Phenomenal track record, of course, in developing key projects in Abu Dhabi. So there's no surprise there. The nature of Abu Dhabi and all the islands around it lends itself well to developments of that nature. If you take a look in between Yas Island, Sadia, the Reem Island, etc., and the patchwork that works out, you start to see something very, very interesting topographically speaking. Actually,
really interesting, and Abu Dhabi also has that kind of. I mentioned this yesterday about Doha, but it has a nostalgic feeling. It's a bit, more toned down than Dubai. It's nice to go and staycation there, honestly.
I do it often. I do it often with the kids. It is it's great to have something so close that has something unique to offer the way that Abu Dhabi does. And I think the cultural element that's coming in. I'm looking at what's happening with the museum, the Sheikh Zayed Museum that's being built right now, right next to the Guggenheim, and it's looking phenomenal. Piece of architectural, masterpiece. Actually, I'm looking forward to that, and it just adds to a very nice set of attractions that Abu Dhabi has made unique to itself.
Definitely. I mean, so many times on the weekend, when I want to go do something, I just go to Abu Dhabi, go see the Louvre, and beautiful. So I'm really looking forward to those museums. Just real quick, net profit leaped 88% from a year earlier to $427.5 million. That's 1.57 billion dirhams, beating analyst expectations of $280 million. So very good. Very
People
good
were
for,
expecting a
for
strong
Aldar.
performance. It came even stronger than that. That's in line with the overall, macro trend in developers. They're all doing much better out of the UAE in 2023, and sales into 2024 have been strong. So, people expecting strong numbers came strong, but even stronger than they expected.
Absolutely. Walid, thank you so much for your time. We can go on and on and on. Always a very, very fascinating conversation. Stay tuned, guys, for the co-founder and chief product officer at Outsized coming up next. And do you have a favorite son or not?
On the spot. No, equidistant.
Just try to. No, I'm messing.
I keep sharing the episode with them, so this could get me in trouble.
Oh, lovely. No, it sounds like you've got. It sounds like you've got a lovely relationship.
I hope so. So far, so
with
good.
them. Yeah. Not the intimidating kind of.
Sometimes.
Remember back in the day when your dad would call you, like you would find 10 missed calls from your father, and you would just
die.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I have the opposite problem, unfortunately. So.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. The tables have turned.
Indeed.
Thanks, Walid, and see you next Wednesday.
Right.
Welcome back and welcome Azim Zanulbai, the co-founder and chief product officer at Outsized. Love that name, by the way. It's an on-demand talent platform. Brilliant concept, but walk us through it real quick.
Okay. Well, what we do at Outsized is we match what we call independent consultants. So people used to call them gig workers or freelance workers.
Yeah.
But we're much more focused on the high-end side, people that businesses use in white-collar work.
Yeah.
And we match them with big corporates, big enterprises. And typically these are for long-term projects, so 6, 8, 10-month projects where there's specific outcomes that need to be delivered. So there's a big transformation project.
You mean the crazy outcomes that you just,
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the copy on your website and the idea of how the idea for this company came about, because your co-founder was given crazy expectations for a project. How has the demand been? Because I think the talent that you help with, they get hired from anywhere from 6 to 12 months, I believe. Is it?
Absolutely, 6 to 12 months, and our business is not only in MENA, in the region, like in UAE, in the Gulf, in Saudi, but also across other emerging markets like Southeast Asia and South Africa.
But you started from the UAE?
We started in Southeast Asia, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then moved to UAE because we saw so much demand here.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about the demand, but go on, please.
Absolutely. And what we saw when the demand was coming is that in the Middle East there are so many big projects going on right now, so many big expectations, and you had a lot of these large consulting firms and big organizations trying to do big projects, but the need was not actually for teams of people or for big firms. It was, hey, we already have a project team in place, and we need some specific skills or capabilities that the project team doesn't have, and that's why we came along and we said, hey, there's a gap in this market. A huge gap in this market. But I think what's more interesting is, why does this exist? Like, why is it that there are these people?
Yeah, great points. Yeah. And why?
Well, there's, as we all know, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this a lot, the world is changing faster, right? So there's geopolitical things, there's more information, there's technological innovation, and this change is driving this kind of change in the speed of the world is driving changes in how businesses have to operate and how freelancers have to operate, how professionals need to operate. And for enterprises, what it means is that they need to have agile working environments. Instead of delivering an outcome in 2 years, the boards of directors are saying, give me an outcome in 6 months.
Yeah.
And then iterate on it. And that's a way that they can deal with this adversity, because they can then make quick changes every 6 months or every 3 months, instead of taking one bet and it being wrong after 2 years. But on the professional side, what you're seeing is much more interesting. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, white collar professionals used to define themselves and their credibility not by the skills that they have or by the outcomes. They define themselves by, hey, this is my job title and this is my company name.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not the case anymore, right? People say, you know what, in this environment, I am the skills that I have and the outcomes that I've produced and the capabilities I have or am going to develop in the future. So for me, I am a product manager and I've built really cool products, as opposed to I'm the CPO and co-founder of Outsized. I mean, I also like that title, don't get me wrong, but that's what you're seeing. And that means that more professionals are driven towards project-based work because they're saying, I don't care about the company or the title. I care about, did I accomplish something amazing?
Absolutely. And you know what, I do credit the younger generation for that as well, because they kind of came in and tech obviously, but they just changed
absolutely.
Changed everything. What are some trends that you're seeing when it comes to on-demand talent?
Well, there's multiple trends that we're seeing. The number one trend is more professionals are becoming independent professionals now. So instead of employed professionals in a fixed employment opportunity, they are already becoming a flexible talent, right? I want to work on one project or another project. But more specifically in the region, what we're seeing is there is a huge amount of change in the demand for these types of professionals, and especially in the UAE, but also across the Gulf and in Saudi now. When we did a survey with our clients last year, what they said was, as of today, in terms of white-collar management type of jobs, 5% of their workforce is flexible. They, in the next 5 years, on average, want to take that to 25 to 30%. So that's a massive change. It's a massive change driven by many factors, some of which I talked about.
Did that begin after the pandemic, you think, or was that driven by something else?
The pandemic increased the change in velocity, but it was happening before. I think this trend has been happening for 10 years, and we're in this region. We are maybe 10 years behind what happened in the US or in Europe in terms of the acceptance of this idea of project-based work.
Right. Interesting. So Outsized is in MENA, Southeast Asia. What are your plans for the company?
Well, we have big plans for the company. This region is our key region. It is the region that we've seen the most increase in demand, both from a enterprise side, where companies come to us and need things done, as well as from a talent side. Hey, there's a lot more talent that is becoming free, especially with the UAE Golden Visa, with the UAE Freelance Visa.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you, were you surprised by the amount of demand for such talent here?
I mean, honestly, we weren't, right? But as an entrepreneur, you kind of make these bets and expect in the future. I think what was surprising is that the growth in this region is larger than the growth in South Africa or in South Asia. So it matches the growth that we're seeing in Southeast Asia, and that was certainly a surprise. But that's a surprise that we faced 2 years ago. Now we're capitalizing on that demand, and what we're doing is we're working with many more companies, but we're also, I'm the CPO, so I do the product stuff, and we're really excited because we're launching new products that cater.
So no pressure on you then.
So no pressure, obviously. And we're not only expanding the number of people that we have, but we're launching products that cater to the demand in this region. And in this region, what people are telling us, what our clients are telling us is, we don't want to come to you when we need the talent. We want you to predict the talent that we need before we even know it. And the person in our company that has to solve that problem, unfortunately, is you.
It's you.
But
it's a good problem to have. Keeps you on your toes, I would say.
And it allows us to use cool new technologies like AI and data mining techniques to be able to go to our clients and say, we know what you've done in the past, and based on what you've done and what others have done, let me predict what's going to happen in the future, and come to them with what we call a virtual bench, a virtual pool of talent, where they can, before they even know it, we'll ping them and we'll say, we think in the next 3 months you're going to need these types of people, and they'll be like, well, yes. How did you know?
who would you say, are you seeing more demand from certain industries, specific industries?
Absolutely. Large consulting firms are where we're seeing the biggest growth in demand, and the second is in financial services.
Okay.
So banking, insurance, and then the third is in oil and gas.
Okay.
Right.
What kind of talents? I'm curious.
So typically, I'll give you some broad macro level. There's a lot of specifics in the capabilities that people need, but it's project managers, it's strategy consultants, it's solutions architects, and it's data solutions architects. So these are really broad terms. Every project needs a lot more specific things. Hey, I need a project manager with experience in a certain type of industry that has executed on a project with this type of outcome.
Right.
And we have 30,000 quality assured freelancers on our platform, of which about 8,000 are from Arabic-speaking regions.
Great point, because I was about to ask you, are you ever short of finding that good talent? Because a couple of years ago, it was very difficult to not only find, but retain that talent as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is a challenge. And in this region, it is still a challenge because the best talent is in more demand than what the supply is. And so therefore, what we have to do with our clients is help our clients understand what is available by when. The biggest problem in an independent talent marketplace is what's the availability of that talent. The talent exists, but if they're on a project, then that's useless to you if you are my client, right?
Absolutely.
And so we expand the talent pool and we say, look, number one, most clients would love it if you have Arabic-speaking talent with the skills needed that already live in the region. If that's not the case, then you go outside of the region with Arabic-speaking talent.
Right.
And then if that's not the case, then you have to look for talent that can be either hybrid or remote that doesn't speak Arabic. And a lot of times you'll have to do that for certain niche skill sets where there just is not talent, or the talent is in such high demand that you can't find those people. Yeah,
interesting. Let's talk a little bit before we run out of time. Outsized, what is the business model?
So the business model is very simple. When we make the match between the talent and the freelancer, the talent and the enterprise, we charge a small service fee on top. Right? Okay. It's very simple. It's straightforward for both sides of the table, and our job is to be really good at making that match. Now, making that match for somebody who charges $500, $1,000, I'm going to use U.S. dollars here, a day, is a much more different problem than somebody who's doing a one-week job at $20 an hour.
Absolutely.
Right? So the quality assurance that we have to do through our platform. So we use algorithms, we use AI, we use data collection, and we use human screening to make sure that the right people are there. But it takes a lot of time and effort to do, and the problem statements are quite interesting. Yeah. But for our clients, ultimately, what we provide our clients is, hey, these are the 5 or 10 people out of the hundreds of people that applied for the position that are the right fit, in the right budget, with the right skill set, that are validated and vetted by us.
Beautiful. You asked me a question before we went live. You said, how many hours of this do you do a day? It was a very, a very lovely question, because it shows that you really do think about the talent. Any trends when it comes to, is there one specific kind of country, just speaking of kind of trends, we talked about the industries, is there one particular kind of country that you're seeing more demand in, that you'd like to expand in? Are you also looking for other revenue streams? Is it enough the way it's going right now, the business model?
Our strength is always going to be making the match. Right, that is always going to be our strength, and there's different models that we can use to make money doing that. One is just making the match and charging a fee, but others are things like this virtual bench. Hey, let us give you access to a pool of talent for a fee, and there's a couple of other things down the line that we're building. But I will say that the opportunity in UAE and the opportunity in KSA in Saudi are the two places that we really believe in. These are the two countries in the Middle East that we really believe in and are really expanding. I mean, the talent pool in the UAE is just so strong now compared to what it was even 5 years ago.
Definitely.
Right? And the demand is here, but then there's also a lot of demand in Saudi. right? And so we're seeing a lot of linkages between the two
A lot of
countries.
competition between the UAE and Saudi at the moment, which is great for the talent pool because you get really the creme de la creme, I would say. Excuse me, guys, for my voice today. But Azim, it was a pleasure speaking to you. Hope to have you back in the studio. I want to hear about those other revenue streams that you're working on. Outsized, Azim Zedelbai, co-founder and chief product officer. Check them out. If anything, even if you don't need talent, just the copy on that website is absolutely brilliant. Really fun to read. Love it. Thank you, Azim. Watch us on smashy.tv if you're listening to this. If you're watching, you can also listen in your car rides, back home, on the way here. We go live every single morning, 10 a.m. Get us wherever you get your podcasts or on all social media platforms. Thank you.